Hey guys, how's it going? This is Mike from M&R Automotive. Today we have a brand new Hummer EV and we're installing a 40-inch light bar. First thing we're going to do is open the frunk. Press the button on the bottom. It opens it up way too much. Bring it down a little bit so that way it's easier. What I'm going to be using is these two bolts from the back here. It's a number 8 socket. I'm going to go ahead and remove one. Set it aside, don't lose it. And I'm going to do the same thing on the passenger side. The kit comes with two brackets that will mount the live 40-inch light bar onto the Hummer EV. You get a driver's side and a passenger. Notice the orientation. And all you do is pretty much use the bolt that we've removed. I actually like to finger tighten it so that way when you tighten the bolts for the light bar, it'll still swivel and put itself in the correct location, and then we can tie this one down. So same thing on the passenger side. While drilling, all you're doing is just reusing factory hardware. Next thing we're going to do is actually put the light bar right in between the two eyelets. Next thing we're going to do is mount the light bar with the supplied hardware on both ends. As you tighten these bolts, the bracket that holds itself to the Hummer EV itself is going to straighten out and put itself in a proper location, so that way we can tighten those bolts next. And that's two. Pretty simple, right? Last step for the mounting is just to tighten these bolts. So now that the light bar is actually mounted on the vehicle, I want to show you how close it sits. There's a very small gap in the middle and it sits very close to the actual frunk itself. So I want to show you how I'm going to be routing this wire. It comes with 6.5 feet of wire. We're going to actually zip tie it in the corner here. And then we are going to zip tie it to the already running wire. This is the one that goes to the factory light bar of the Hummer. We're just going to use zip tie so that way it holds together. And we're going to connect the power source here. So one thing I want to point out too, these are adjustable. These are the bump stops. And this actually determines the clearance between the frunk itself and the bottom portion. So you can adjust them a little bit outward. If for some reason you're getting rubbing against the plastic, you can take them out, and that way when you close it, it's going to provide a slightly bigger gap. The Hummer EV comes with auxiliary switches and the entertainment system. Although they do come with pre-programmed buttons inside your screen, you still have to purchase an additional touchscreen module from GM, and it costs around $350. If you choose to go that route and use the buttons on your keypad, you can go ahead and go that route. We actually went a different route. It's a wireless remote control panel. It offers 8 different switches, costs about $100 on Amazon, and will allow us to control all of our accessories with a keypad wirelessly, and we don't have to drag anything inside the cab. So this is a very easy solution, costs about $100. It makes the installation very easy, and it's a complete standalone power distribution box, so that way you don't have to tap into anything from the original vehicle. So the company that sells this on Amazon is Joint World. I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the description below. M&R does not sell this power distribution box, so you're going to have to go and purchase it through them. Let's go see what's inside. So there's an instruction manual, there's stickers, gives you 8 different buttons for 8 different accessories. The actual power distribution box, generic L bracket, has a power cable with an 80 amp fuse. One side is going to go to the battery, and the second side is going to connect to the box itself. And same thing with a ground cable. One of it is going to go onto the battery or anywhere on the chassis of the vehicle, and the second one's going to go to the power distribution box. So let's go ahead and take this apart, the distribution box, so that way you can see where the circuits are and how we're going to connect it. So we're just removing the 4 Phillips screws. So if you could tell, it's actually really good quality. Everything is epoxied, all the electronics is internally. So all you have to do is connect the positive here, connect the ground here, and here we have all the circuits with all the amp ratings. So the 40-inch light bar, the white function of it is going to be on a 10 amp fuse. So we're going to probably use one of the 10 amps. And if we have a dual function light bar, we're going to put that on a 5 amp. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If you purchase a single function light bar, your light bar is going to come with 2 wires. One is a positive for the main light and one is a ground. If you purchase a dual function light bar, you're actually going to get a blue wire in here, and this turns on the amber DRL feature. The amber DRL, it's amber back glow to the light bar itself. You can ride around town with it. It's perfectly legal for off-road use, and it matches really well with the Hummer's amber accent lighting. Okay, so let me show you where I'm going to install the distribution box and how I'm going to hook it up. So first off, we're going to go ahead and remove the plastic cover to get access to the battery. Also note, we're not going to the high voltage battery on the vehicle, we're just going to a 12 volt. So I'm going to show you where it is and how we can connect to it. So we're going to go ahead and remove the cover. All you have to do is twist the tabs and take this off. Alright, next thing we're going to do, let's go ahead and connect the distribution box. We're going to take the cover off. So there's two tabs and lift them up. And now we have access to the battery. We're going to go ahead and loosen the positive terminal. I'm going to grab my wiring. So what I like to do when I do my installs, I actually like to trip this fuse and disconnect it so that way I don't get electrocuted. So when I'm connecting things on the positive battery, I don't want to short anything. So you take off the protective cover and you're going to go ahead and disengage it. If everything's in line, there's an 80 amp fuse. If it's in line, that means there's power going through it. If you press this button, it takes it away, and that way there's a block here, so you're not going to get shocked here on this end. So now we're going to go ahead and tighten this terminal back. Let's go ahead and route this wire through here, so that way we can put the cover back on. So now we can go ahead and close this cover. So now we have the positive torque distribution box. We're going to do the same thing for the ground. So I'm going to use this for the ground. It's a 10 millimeter. Go ahead and slide the black part of the terminal right underneath it, and we're going to tighten it. Okay, so now all of our wiring is done on the vehicle itself. Keep in mind this is still disconnected. So let's go ahead and connect these contacts to the power distribution box. So here's our power distribution box. The top terminal is the power. So we're gonna go ahead and feed the power cable. We're gonna go under. There's a little slot here. There's gonna be a cover here, so you have to go under. We're gonna use a screwdriver to loosen this contact. And we're gonna slide this terminal right underneath it. So now that we did the power, we're gonna do exactly the same thing with the ground. Slide the terminal right under it. Let's go ahead and do the wiring. So we're going to use a 10 amp fuse. So I am going to loosen up these two terminals, which is the positive and the ground. And that's a 10 amp fuse. And then I am going to loosen up just the positive on the 5 amp terminal, because that's the one we're going to use for the DRL feature. So we're going to take our wire, we're going to feed it under, and then we are going to connect the ground. Okay. We're going to connect the red wire, which is the power wire for the main white light. Okay. And the last thing we're going to do is connect the power wire, which is the blue wire, which is our DRL. So I'm going to put that into the 5 amp terminal. So next thing I want to do, if you read the instructions, you have to pair the remote. Key number 5, you got to press it 5 times, and then you'll see the buttons start flickering on the panel itself. That's how you know you paired the remote to the module. So I think we're ready to test it. I'm going to go ahead and flip my fuse to the positive, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and press this 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you see this blinking, that means it's pairing. Let me show you how I'm doing the zip ties. I'm going to grab the wire, feed it right next to the bracket. You can actually throw one zip tie here, so that way it doesn't get out the way. Okay. We're gonna get one here. Feel free to use as many as you feel you need in order to keep the wires together. You can use the L brackets provided with this module in order to connect it using any of these various bolts. I mean, there's a bolt here, there's a bolt here that you can use. These are all grounds. Or you could honestly just zip tie it to the rails or to any type of wiring, because it's going to have a cap on. Everything's going to be protected. So the only thing you're trying to do is just make sure it doesn't move. So this is the amber DRL feature. And oh wow, this is bright.
It blinded you almost.
Yeah, but now that we know everything's connected properly, we can make everything neat. Use some zip ties, put the cover on the distribution box, and enjoy your adventures. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy the product.